Come on in. Let's get settled. Welcome to the live. I'm still prepping, kind of. Welcome, welcome. I don't have, okay. Oh, okay, restore chat. I was gonna say, I don't have chat for YouTube. That's better. Oh, have you been talking this whole time? Welcome. Hi. Hello to me. Welcome. Come on in. Do I have anybody who's cooking with me today? You're hungry. This may be the wrong stream to watch. Unless you are already purchasing food and or eating food very shortly. Hi, Sam. Okay, can I pop this chat out, honey? No, it's not. It told me to restore. Here, I got it. Pop out chat. It told me that I had to restore it, so I clicked restore, but it had like the whole thing. And it was like that the whole time. Just FYI. You're cooking along today? Oh, I'm so excited. Yay. I have somebody in YouTube cooking along with me. I don't know Twitch. Is anybody in Twitch cooking along with me today? What kind of background music? Just like, are we doing like house chill? Or chill house music? Or like some lo-fi? Just to the beat? Yeah. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the A Little Spoon kitchen. The Macarena on repeat? No, thank you. I actually, my kids know that song, but they like didn't know any of the moves. And like, it was really funny. I taught my son the moves the other day and he was like, this is too much. It's too much dancing. He's just like, what? He's a dancer, but he's like, I want to freestyle, like be wild dance. He doesn't like, there's no pattern. There's no rhythm. It's just vibes, which honestly, great form of dance. Interpretive dance is fantastic. Dance like that again. For TikTok, nah, that's okay. The late 1900s. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Shauna, are you doing the pasta salad and the green goddess with me, or are you doing the pasta salad with some pre-purchased green goddess? How much are you? I'm doing like the whole thing. So you may have like a section where you can just like chill. That's really only gonna last 5 to 10 minutes, but you may be able to just like relax for a bit. Hey, Smashville. Hello, hello. Okay. We'll give a couple people maybe another 3 minutes, and then we'll do the intro and get started. Oh. This is one of those things where like it's a really easy recipe. There's just like a lot of ingredients. I have quite a few recipes that are like that, but it's so good and it's so worth it. Doing both, so no relaxing. Okay, you're with me. I like this. I like this. This will be good. Actually, yeah, I guess I'll wait. I'll wait to start. I was gonna turn my oven on and get it preheating. If you want to turn your oven on and get it preheating, you can. I'm gonna wait until I actually like fully start. Hi, welcome. Bekte, are you cooking with us today? The intro and outro are the only parts that I get nervous. A very nice Sunday cooking with Carrie and Lep. Well, cooking with Carrie. Lep is working on charity stuff. So I just have to, if I need him, I have to go, honey, and then I need to ask him questions and ask him to do things. Just pretending I'm on the bear. Okay, got it. Got it. Shouting corner, shouting behind, shouting herd. Herd, we like it. I started actually. So I've got my art projects that I was doing that I posted about on Instagram. Although the story may be gone now because you only had 24 hours to see it. So if you didn't see it, you didn't see it. It may still be there. I don't remember when I posted it. But I did post 2 of the art projects I was working on for the charity stream on my Insta. If you are not currently, I'm sure you guys are if you're here, but if you're not currently looking at my Instagram, it's at @a_little_spoon. So you can kind of get a little sneak peek. Good luck, because if it goes away, it goes away, and then you just have to wait till tomorrow. But I actually went and I started making some friendship bracelets to hand out at GCX. You read pasta and had to join. Nice. Yeah, this is a fun one. Hands. Yep. Look at my hair. It's so blue. I just redyed it. I redyed it on Friday. So yeah, we blue. I'm planning on staying blue for a while, so get used to this. This is going to be common. Here for the vibes. Honestly, I'm good with that. If you have any questions, even if you're not cooking today, if you have questions, you're welcome to ask questions about what I'm doing, about the food, the produce, preparing, any of that kind of stuff. I'm happy to answer questions. And it's honestly helpful to the people who are coming to watch this at a later date because then they get extra information that I maybe wouldn't have thought of. Okay. Are we good? Are you ready? How you feeling, hun? Ready when I am? Ugh. What am I drinking? I'm drinking a Kirkland brand sparkling water, lemon flavored. The forbidden lemon flavor. Yeah, these are radishes. We got some radishes. I do roasted radishes and turnips in this. You can just do radishes if you want, though. Totally fine. You can use actually a bunch of different vegetables. Okay. Okay. Whenever you're ready. We can always go again, right? Like, it's just the outro that has to be perfect. Okay. Hi, and welcome to the A Little Spoon Kitchen. Today we are going to be making some green goddess pasta salad. I am, in fact, going to do both the pasta salad and the green goddess dressing from scratch. If you would like to go to a store and purchase the green goddess dressing from the shelf or refrigerated section or wherever you like to purchase that, you are welcome to. You do not have to make it from scratch. You can cut corners. I will attempt to give a couple of different ways to do that during the course of making this recipe. But the way that this works, right, it's a cook along, and I am literally starting with nothing measured, nothing prepped. We are cooking along so that you can, if you decide you want to make this recipe, come in and watch the whole thing from start to finish and kind of have me as your guide along the way. Now, this is live recorded. I am currently doing a live stream. So if you are here at a later date, just know I may be like reading off to the side, answering questions, talking to people. I'm kind of talking to myself, but also not talking to myself. So you will hear me kind of like adding different things and like having kind of side conversations. But it may be helpful. A lot of the times my chat likes to ask me questions I might not have already thought of answering. So it gives you just a little bit of extra information sometimes. Let's get started. This is a pretty easy thing. What we're going to do first, if you go to my recipe, I guess I should probably plug this so that you know where to find it. It is also in the comments underneath the video, but the recipe is on my website at alittlespoon.com. This is the green goddess pasta salad recipe, and I started the instructions for that one with the pasta first. I think just because it kind of gets me in like the mind of like getting everything ready, and it kind of sits off to the side and you can kind of ignore it. But in order to save a little time, I'm kind of gonna flip a couple things today. So I'm actually going to prep my root vegetables first, and I'm going to get those baking in the oven along with some bacon that I 100% forgot to defrost. So it is sitting in a sink full of water right now, and I'm hoping it defrosts with enough time for me to bake it at the same time as these little lovely ladies here. And then the pasta is going to get cooked while those are in the oven. So let me go ahead, and the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna turn our oven on, and we're gonna turn it to 425 degrees Fahrenheit or 218 degrees Celsius. Okay. And we'll have that going. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're gonna just chop these into small diced pieces. I'm gonna end up baking them on this guy here. So I'm just gonna kind of set them off to give myself some space. I have radishes and turnips. The recipe does call for both of these, but you do not have to use these. The fun thing about this pasta salad recipe is that you can really, honestly, if you don't want vegetables, you can not use vegetables. If you want to use fresh vegetables, you can put in red pepper. You can put in some, I guess, I'd probably do red pepper and carrots and tomatoes. You can do roasted butternut squash in the fall, or maybe like a sweet potato or something like that. That would also be really good. But because it's summer, spring to summer, I really like to kind of do the radishes and the turnips. I think radishes just give it a really nice like pop and like an earthy, peppery flavor that you kind of don't get from any of the other ingredients in this recipe. So frozen bacon, we're in for the long haul. Yeah, it's been defrosting for about 15 minutes now. It should be good. It should be good by the time we go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just cut the root and the top section off, give myself a nice flat surface to work with here, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna make some small, probably about 1/2 inch size squares. A half an inch is 1.3 centimeters. I've been doing this for quite a while, so I feel like I'm now just starting to get the handle of like metric system stuff and just being able to do those in my head, but it's only for like really common things that I say all the time. Okay. You need about, I guess how many, let's see. We're doing about a cup of these. You can, again, this recipe to your heart's content. Like you want more vegetables, you want less vegetables. It's pretty difficult to like throw this recipe out of balance. And you can just tweak and do whatever you want as you go. So it's calling for a cup or about 150 grams of diced radishes. I might do more. Honestly, they just look really good. They're like nice and fresh, and I might just have more than that. The sponsor, non-sponsor of Kirkland brand, yeah, hashtag not sponsored. Honestly, I just didn't have time to fill up my water bottle and get the SodaStream going, but also not sponsored. So. Good morning, Icebox. I think I need to increase the font size in my YouTube chat. I can barely read it. Can you do that? Hey, look, it's the husband. Yet. Yeah, I know. That would be really cool. Maybe one day. So you always want to cut on a flat surface when you're cutting up vegetables, when you're using knives, just in general, fruit, vegetables, whatever you're dicing, whatever you're prepping. You want to make sure that you're not cutting on something that can rock. It's just really easy to kind of slide sideways and slice off a finger or a tip or just cut yourself in general. I can't say that I've never done that. I've had many a mishap, so we are extra safe now. The safest thing that you can do, or the thing that you can do to make yourself the most safe in your kitchen, is to have sharp knives. This cutting on a flat surface is an additional precaution, but dull knives are the fastest way to have you kind of slipping, sliding, not going all the way through something, getting stuck in stuff. It's just, yeah. Keep your knife sharp. Get yourself a little whetstone or a honing rod. Take them in to get sharpened every couple of months. Just yeah, be nice to your knives. Find a knife that fits your hand nice, that feels good in your grip, that you can prep for like more than 30 minutes without your hands cramping and getting rough. Oh no, also don't drop your super sharp knife on your foot like I did a couple days ago. Yeah, don't do that. Doolin, I'm sorry. I hope you're okay. Did it hit like handle side down, or was it just like a scare, or did you actually injure yourself? Good knives. I've heard this is a Cutco knife. Honestly, this is like my workhorse in my kitchen, and I know it's a Ponzi scheme. I get it. My cousin was selling them when I was in college. I've literally had this thing since college. I love this knife. It fits my hand perfectly. I have nicer knives that are far more expensive. And honestly, like the blade is better. It holds its edge longer. It's just like a tougher steel in general on some of my nicer blades or my nicer knives. But I haven't found a knife handle that fits my hand as well as this one. So like if I need precision and sharpness, I'll probably go to one of those. But if I'm just prepping like veg and stuff like that, I'm using this knife 100% of the time. I've heard good things about, like for smaller hands, I've heard good things about Global. Their G2 line, the smaller chef knife is supposed to have a smaller grip. And I was looking at that for a really long time, but then I started hearing really good things about made-in knives and Headley and Bennett, I guess, as well. So maybe, I'm not sure, but yeah. If you want more information, because like I'm all I am is anecdotal, right? If you want more information about knives in general, about like steel, and I keep wanting to call it a tang. It's not a sword. The handle and bolsters and like all of that kind of stuff, and like the level of steel that you want to have for what you're doing, or even just brands in general, and people who are like trying stuff out and like reviewing them. I honestly recommended these people honestly almost every cooking stream that I've done now, and in several of my chats. I do like live chats on Instagram every now and then, and or every 2 weeks, and I've brought them up a couple of times. They're a group called Cult Flav, and they are incredible. They do all sorts of reviews. They review cookbooks, they review kitchen tools and gadgets. They're just super thorough. They're really interested in the science of stuff, which I appreciate because I'm like heavily influenced by the science of stuff. And so yeah, if you're looking for reviews of stuff, the first place that I would tell you to go is to them. Is the apron available for sale anywhere? No. I actually got this as a Christmas present from my husband. He got it from Tillet. I love it. It fits really nice. I was a little worried because I'm so small that I would get like really, really big like gap here and here, but I love the full wraparound waistband. I like the pocket. It does have like an inner pocket, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I mean, maybe if I was like carrying my phone around and just like wanted to have it. I kind of do wish they have some aprons that have pockets also on the side that you can like put your hand into, and they don't go straight down. They're like at an angle, which is like super ergonomically awesome. But they're a great company, and I do like this apron a lot. But we paid for the branding. So we're looking for about 2 1/4 cups of diced turnip. Same size. You want the same size pieces as the radish so that everything cooks evenly and at the same time. And that is about 180 grams. Hey, Garvin. Meant for waitressing originally? It might have been. I would believe that. Shauna, how are we doing? You're cooking with me today. You feeling good? Are you feeling rushed? Are you feeling like we're at the same place? Do I have anybody else cooking with me today besides Shauna? Root vegetable pasta salad. This is, okay. So this is a pasta salad that's got bacon, Parmesan, grape tomatoes, roasted vegetables, arugula, and green goddess dressing. It can be honestly whatever you want it to be, but the green goddess dressing along with like the cherry tomatoes and stuff like that don't really make it like a root vegetable pasta. You can change up some of the flavoring, and you can do root vegetables. I think I mentioned earlier that you can do like butternut squash or some sweet potato or something like that. But it wouldn't like inherently make it like a fall thing until you like took out some of those tomatoes or like took out some of the other ingredients. You can though. You can absolutely like make this to your tastes. Fire roasted tomatoes would be good, or even like if you did red pepper. Like if you did some roasted red pepper with the sweet potatoes and stuff, that would be really nice. Cutting gloves? Cutting gloves? What are you talking about? You mean like putting just like regular gloves on? I'm not in a professional kitchen. Is it considered a professional kitchen if I'm a professional and I'm in my kitchen? I'm not in a kitchen in which I'm serving anyone but myself my food. Good morning. Pacing is fine? Okay, good. You're not cooking, but you will later? Nice. Just getting a feel for the recipe, seeing if it's something you want to do? That's fine too. If you have any questions while we're going, feel free to ask them now and I'll answer them. And when you come back, you can have the answer waiting for you. I'm very not great with cooking. You just like sitting and vibing with these? That's fine. We appreciate you being here. Yeah, the woven mail ones. I don't have those. I don't know. I've been pretty fortunate. I've cut my fingers a couple of times pretty badly in the past. But I was young and YOLO and all of that. What is it? Do it for the plot. Is that the new one? I'm old also. I was not safe as a kid learning how to do things in the kitchen. But now I've like take my time and pay attention and I'm not like, whew. Luckily, I have not had any really bad mishaps in a while. Especially oh my God, I need to like knock on something. I do have wood right here. I'm knocking on wood. I have never sliced the tip of my finger at all with a mandolin. I've never done that. It's gonna end up hurting. It was 180 grams for the turnips. Yep. That's what it was. If you want to do a little more, you want to do a little less, you're good. I'm not even measuring. I'm going by what it looks like. I could measure. It's sort of for consistency purposes. That's what I did for the recipe online. So people would know how much to buy of things and what they were kind of expected to do. But yeah, you measure with your heart on the roasted vegetables. You split the tip of your thumb, flattening out carrots. Yeah, I almost cut the entire tip of my index finger off, like diagonally this way, cutting chocolate when I was maybe in high school. And it was like the very last piece. We got one of those, like, I don't know if you've ever seen it. I'm sure an American has. They have like jumbo Hershey bars that are like easily like an inch, like 2.5 centimeters thick. It's a little insane. And I cut the whole thing up, like chopped it to use for like, I don't even know what, for just snacking and like brownies or something like that. And I was on the very last slice and I chopped the tip of my finger off. And in true millennial fashion, I grabbed a paper towel, wrapped it around my finger, told no one, and watched, like, went in, said nothing to anybody with this paper towel completely wrapped around my finger and just sat like this watching a movie for like 2 hours until I could take it off without it bleeding. And then I put a Band-Aid on it, and now I have a line that is forever there, marring my fingerprints, and I have no feeling in the tip of my finger. So, cool. Like you do. Yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. I don't know. I went with it. That's exactly what you did. That's it. I'm glad that we all have these stories. You're like, yeah, I too did something like that. I too made mistakes in the kitchen. Everybody does. Of course, America has a jumbo chocolate bar, because why not? Yeah, exactly. Good afternoon, Mr. Poole. Do you know? Okay, okay. So we have somebody in chat who comes in and says jokes every time we stream. So I'm gonna read it. Afternoon, Carrie. Do you know what ingredients go in a honeymoon salad? Lettuce alone without dressing. Ooh. Okay. Okay. That's a little spicy. The J. Henkel's premium quality 15-piece knife set. Honestly, if you're looking for a full set of knives, like if you have a full set of any one specific knife or brand, it's probably because somebody gifted it to you at one point in your life or another. You don't need that many knives. I would tell you, I get by very well. I have a slicer. I have like a bread slicer. I have a chef knife. I have 2 paring knives, and I have a boning knife. And I do have other knives, but those are like the solid knives that I use consistently in my kitchen, and I'm like always reaching for. Everything else is like a specialty, something that is just not. You don't need them. Gifting knives in this economy? Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. It still happens when like kids go to college. This one's a small one. That's what happened to me when I went to college. My parents gifted me some knives, but it also was far cheaper to do that at the time. So there's that too. But yeah, don't go for like a whole set. Buy, and like a lot of the times too, companies they make like a specific knife or two, like it is the benchmark for that knife. And then on other knives, they're like not quite as good, or because they're using a certain type of steel, or they have a certain typically is a certain type of steel that may be good for like say prep, but not necessarily good for something that needs to be flexible like fish or something like that. There's actually a whole lot of like engineering going on behind like different knives, and so it's good to kind of know like who's good at what, and then like purchase individual knives from each brand accordingly. Like in my brain, Wusthof is like a workhorse when it comes to like chopping, prepping, any like heavy duty kind of things that you're doing. You have to like kind of really get through in your kitchen. And then like if you're doing something like I have a Miyabi, and that to me is like I'm working with delicate things and things that I need like to have like really precise movement and slices with, and yeah. What if you only want one knife? Get your don't have one, get 2. If you like the fewest amount of knives I think that you could possibly get away with is a chef knife and a paring knife. Have something small and have something large. And do that. So the $25 complete professional chef knife set from Walmart isn't it? No. But I will also say, like, honestly, those knives that you can find in like a pack that have like the white handles, those like white plastic handles, in a pinch, like they're cheap. They're cheap. They're gonna wear down fast. They're not gonna be like the strongest or any of that kind of stuff. But if you just need something now and you need something to like give you a good year, maybe, and you're willing to just like toss and move on to another pair, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you know, there are knives that you can spend like $400 on, or I could go get, you know, a pack of whatever for like $20 and just toss it when, you know, why don't spend the money to get them like re-sharpened and kind of like that, or get like the blade fixed or any of that. Just buy new ones. There is something to be said about doing something like that for like economical purposes. Yeah, so okay, so Gemini said knives that are fill tang and forged steel are what you're looking for. So it's really, you want to have a solid piece of metal. I don't know if, let me see if I can get this in here. You're looking for like a solid piece, runs all the way through the back of the knife, and then you have your handle that goes around it. This is super strong. Sometimes you will have sometimes it'll actually be like all metal and it will kind of come out and then like keep going in like one smooth motion. But like the point is that you want this piece to be like one solid piece. It's just it's a much stronger blade here. There's less, it's less prone to like having any like breakage and stuff like that. And it gives you a lot more force when you're doing like prep work and stuff like that. But yeah, okay. Yeah, a full tang. I got you with that. And I like that you called it a tang too, because I felt really weird calling it that earlier. Okay, so I'm going to spread this out. I'm going to get a little bit of some canola oil on it. I think I said something like two tablespoons. So like 30 mils of canola oil. And then need some salt. And that's going to be about a quarter teaspoon or 0.6 grams of, I have Diamond Crystal Kosher salt. That's what I use in my house. If you are using a different brand, weigh your salt, because different brands have different saltinesses based on the structure of your salt. Sometimes you can like get really messed up if you are trying to change the brand of salt without weighing your salt. And things can get too salty or be like way undersalted. Where did I get the I think it's called a coquette, something like that. That's a Le Creuset. They're I don't know exactly. They sell them, I think, to be like a ramekin. What I'm guessing is like panna cotta or like comfy and garlic or something like that, and like small little enameled Dutch ovens. But I just use it as a salt cellar. I have a white one back there that I put sugar in, and then I put salt in this one. I love them, but yeah. Any cooking? Why not avocado oil? I don't have it. It's expensive, but you can do it if you want. They come coquette, yeah, croquette. Honestly, I don't know why my brain's not coming up with the word. Croquette. Are there any cooking related books that you would recommend? I guess it depends on what you're going for. This is gonna go in here for about 25 minutes. Actually, I'm gonna do veggies on top. We're gonna work on bacon now. If you're looking for recipes, but you also like science, I would highly recommend Kenji Lopez Alt, or just Kenji Lopez Alt's The Food Lab cookbook. It's basically Serious Eats turned into a cookbook. So there's a website online called Serious Eats, and it wasn't run by him, but he worked there for a really long time, and so there's a lot of recipes with his name under them. But they really like to do like scientific experiments. So it's like, what's the best way to do this? We tried all of these different things in different temperatures and different times with different ingredients and tools and whatnot. And then they'll tell you which one they think is the best and give you a recipe to use that. And I love that. And he has a book called The Food Lab that is just, if you want to get better at cooking and you want to understand what's happening when you're cooking so you can make better decisions in the kitchen, that is a great cookbook to have. If you want to understand like flavor balancing, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat is another great just like learning cookbook. That's by Samin Nosrat. And then also the Flavor Bible is another great one. If you want to like learn how to balance things. Yeah, there's actually quite a few cookbooks that I've really loved. There's a cookbook by Mark Bittman, who is, I want to say he was a New York Times like food critic and food writer, and it's called Kitchen Express. I bought it 20 years ago, and they're paragraph style recipes. And they are broken down by season, and you just kind of like can read through it, and it's fantastic. It's a fantastic book for just like ideas and things to throw together that don't take a really long time. And if you just happen to have like ingredients, you can kind of like come up with stuff, and it's just like really helpful to think about the things that you have in your kitchen. What about Alton Brown? Does he have a cookbook? I loved that show growing up. Honestly, that's part of why I am the way I am with food. What's that one again? Kitchen Express? I actually just bought a book I'm really excited about for cocktails. I guess I can actually, you know what? At the end, because I have to get going. People might be trying to cook along with me, and I'm just sitting here chatting. When we end stream, I will come back to this. Like when we end this video and I do my outro, afterward we'll come back to it, and you guys can sit and chat, and we'll talk about cookbooks, and I'll grab a couple of mine and we can go through them. Okay, so bacon. I've got a baking sheet here. Actually, I'm gonna set this up. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'll give you more recs. I do need to be cooking. This is not a just chatting stream. So I've got a grill sheet, like my little drying rack or cooling rack for cookies. I've got some aluminum foil. I'm going to be very loud for a moment. Honestly, we're gonna mute it for just a second so it's not so dang loud. So hold on one second. And we're back. So I just took the aluminum foil and put it down, and then I'm gonna fit this back in there. It's just gonna stop the pan from getting dirty. It's just easier cleanup. You don't have to do it, but it is easier. So there's that. And then if you, I guess I have like the what is it called? The cooling rack that I'm using. It's supposed to be like a nonstick, but it's also very old, and honestly, I should get a new one. I spray it with cooking spray. So I'll spray this guy with cooking spray. That way the bacon will come off. I bake my bacon in the oven so that you get that perfectly flat bacon. You do not have to do this if you want to cook your bacon in the microwave and you have one of those like plastic thingies and you just use like paper towel and one of those. This needs to be sharpened. And then, or you want to, cook your bacon on the stovetop in a pan. Also totally fine. Like, go for it. However you like your bacon, that is how it should end up in your pasta salad. I prefer my bacon to be like really crispy. So that's how I'm going to cook it. And I like to have, I cut the wrong side. I like to have my bacon nice and flat so that I can kind of like chop it and like do all that easy. This is also Kirkland brand bacon, so there is far more bacon than I need. I only need like 3 to 4 pieces of bacon for this recipe, but because we're making the green goddess dressing, I just figured I would make extra bacon and then have some BLTs later, since I have literally everything for BLTs too. Bacon is a weakness of yours? I like bacon mostly by itself. I don't really like bacon wrapped things. Bacon can be overpowering sometimes. So like, I don't usually use a lot of it unless it's like supposed to be the main point of the dish. Although it's really good in butternut squash soup. I love putting bacon in butternut squash soup. Bacon is salty. Have I ever tried bacon pancakes? You mean man cakes? I've never tried man cakes. I've never made them. But I have always been very interested in them. Oh, there's 2 pieces here. It has a name. It does have a name. Okay, I'm just kind of, what I'm trying to do, because I don't have a ton of space, is I'm just kind of giving little divots. I'm like making kind of it like a little ribbon texture. This will end up kind of flattening out as it bakes. You don't want them to go up too high because then they'll end up folding over and then you'll have uncooked parts of your bacon. So you're just gonna kind of give them a little bit of a crimp just to make a little bit of extra space. And then this is the thinnest piece in here. I guess it must have just gotten sliced a little off. The thinnest piece is gonna go in the middle. The outsides are gonna cook faster than the inside. So if you do notice like thickness differences in your sliced bacon, you want the thicker ones on the outside. Okay. Typically, I will cook this at about, pardon me, I don't know the Celsius difference in this. I'll cook this at about 400 Fahrenheit in the oven, sometimes with the fan on, like fan on or convection on. But I've got this at 425 for my other vegetables at 218 Celsius, so I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'm just gonna put this in. And if the vegetables come out a little early, I'll turn it down at that point just to finish it. I'm gonna wash my hands. Please wash your hands. when you are done touching bacon. Okay, now bacon's going in. Okay. And that's another 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm very glad that that defrosted the way that I wanted it to. Okay, so now we're gonna start on the pasta part of it. It is not latticed. They're just in strips. I've never actually cooked bacon latticed like that. I always feel like you're gonna have any part that is a single layer is gonna be crispy, and then the ones that are doubled up would be like not. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I don't know how you manage to get the whole thing crispy without burning the single layers. Tender spots, yeah. You just do strips. Lattice doesn't cook properly. Okay, so there are people out there that have tried it. I've seen where people are like, look how pretty this is. And I'm like, that looks great. I don't understand the physics of how you manage to get that to work. So I just have never attempted. Okay, couscous time. So pearl couscous is not actually couscous, it's pasta. Couscous is just the durum wheat that's been crushed. This is actual pasta, so it's semolina pasta. So we're using the durum wheat, but we're actually incorporating other ingredients to make pasta. It beats me on why it's called couscous and not just like pearl pasta. But they're just basically they look like little pearls. There's also, if you are not in the United States, you may find this. It's called, I don't know exactly what the name is in Italian, but it's like peppercorn pasta because they're essentially the size of like peppercorns. So there is like a name for that elsewhere. I want to say fergola is another type of pasta that is also a very kind of small piece of pasta like this. You could also just get orzo. I like that they're round. They're kind of easier to kind of toast and move around. But orzo is absolutely something, if you cannot find this in the store, and like this is like a specialty something, like you can't just get it, or at least as far as I've seen, I can't just get it like in bulk or in a box with all of the major brands. So if you need, get orzo and use orzo. It's also just as good. I've also seen, I probably would recommend that you not go smaller than this or than an orzo size. I wouldn't go larger because we're toasting it, and larger ones, like you're not going to get as much surface area, so that toasted nuttiness isn't going to come out as much. And if you go smaller, then you're not going to have this, for lack of better terminology, you're not going to have the same mouthfeel if they're smaller, because there's just not going to be as much like starch, as much pasta with all the other things in there. You want it to be able to kind of like hold its own in the pasta salad, because it is a pasta salad and not a vegetable and dressing salad. So we are using this. We need about 225 grams or a cup and a half of the pearl couscous. So I am going to grab a bowl. And I'm just going to measure out by grams instead of doing the 1.5 cups. But measure however you want to measure. Okay. Couscous. The food's so nice they named it twice. Aw, that's cute. This is induction. I have induction cooktop behind me, but I don't want to like turn my back to you guys and be talking to you like this, or like having to reach over my shoulder and like have a conversation. So I do have a tabletop induction cooktop that I'm going to be using today. I really need to clean this pan and get it much nicer than this, but we do what we do. I prefer induction. I know a lot of people are gasping right now. I feel like that's a pretty hot take, especially for somebody who cooks as much as I do. Gas is typically the thing that people want to use. I just really like induction. I like the precision of it. I like that if something boils over, I can just lift the pan and immediately clean the surface. I like that once, like any heat that's there is just residual left over from the friction and from the actual pan that's hot, because it's all magnets. So like my kids aren't gonna like burn their fingers if the stovetop is off the way that like you would if it was an electric and you like don't know if it's on or not. And it's not open flame. Like I've got 2 kids. I went for the safe bet and I'm glad that I did. Okay. I'm going to need, let's see. I need about 2 cups of water. I'm gonna do this. Okay, so we need 2 cups or about 480 milliliters of water. Okay. If you want to do a stock, you can probably do like a chicken stock or a veggie stock. I would not recommend you do more than half stock, half water. I would not do full stock. And it's only because then the flavor of the stock is going to overpower the dressing and like some of the other things that you're trying to put in. And I really want this to be about like everything else that's in the salad and not just like of the flavor of chicken stock or something like that. Okay, I need some butter. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons of butter, I believe. Yeah, 2 tablespoons of butter. It's a little bit more than 28 grams of butter. Honestly, I'm just gonna use this whole chunk right here. Let's see. And then we're gonna toast. So I'm gonna get butter in. That's probably closer to about 2.5, 3 tablespoons, but I'm fine with that. And then this guy. You can use carbon steel. You can use anything that if you're in the store, take a magnet with you. Like if you're not sure what is induction friendly and it like doesn't have a sign on it or something like that that says whether or not it's induction ready, just take a magnet, and if you can stick a magnet to the bottom of the pan, then you're good to go, and it is induction friendly. Okay, I need this to get off my spoon. Okay, so we're just gonna melt this down. And then we're gonna put the pasta in, and we're gonna toast off our pasta. This is a step you can skip. I know I mentioned like I'll throw out some shortcuts and stuff like that. This is absolutely a step you can skip. You do not need to toast your pasta. Does it make it taste better? Yes. Do I find or think that the texture is better as the end result? Yes, I do. So I do recommend it, but it is not necessary. It is absolutely optional. The kind of nice thing about induction too is that I'm basically gonna move this pan and then have it sit back here on the back stove, and I don't have to wait for that burner to heat up. I can just move it from one right to the other, and it'll just get the friction going, and it'll be like seamless between a cooktop here and just sitting on the back surface. So. Yeah, so basically what I'm doing is I just want to get it coated in the butter, and then I'm going to kind of, let's turn up the heat a little bit. You're going to start to kind of smell a little bit of a toasty nuttiness when it's there, and you will see the pasta will pick up some kind of like brown spots on it. That's what you're looking for. Induction is magnets. Induction is a magnet that hits the metal of the pan, right? They magnetize, and then it creates friction, and that friction creates heat. And then once you remove a pan or you turn off the stovetop, that friction is gone, and so no heat. Immediately, no heat. There is residual heat left over from how hot your pan has gotten, but it's not. Oh, here I'm starting to get brown. I'm talking too much. So I can smell that. That smells really nice, actually. And I'm just gonna. You can maybe see some of the pearls have gotten brown. You might like pick up some of that color there. I feel like I need a silicone. I'm getting silicone. It doesn't feel like this wooden spatula is getting underneath everything. Oh yeah, that's way better. Silicone spatula for the win. So you can see some of these are getting like a little brown in color. No, induction does not work with every metal pan. And if you really like pastry and you like sugar work or working with other like delicate like desserts, you cannot use copper, which I was really, honestly, like that was something that I was like, do I not want to? Do I want induction? I don't like the idea that I can't use copper. Copper's like really just creates really even conductivity and heat across the whole pot or pan, but you can't use it with induction. So that was a little sad. Okay, I think I'm gonna turn this down. This is about done already. And you don't need, you don't need like every kernel. You don't need every piece of pasta to be like fully browned. You really just want it to be enough that you can taste it kind of in that ending result. Because remember, we are adding water to this and we're gonna cook it like you would just cook rice. And so any flavor that's on any of these, the butter that gets toasted, the pieces of pasta that get toasted, they're all going to sit in water, and that flavor is gonna go into everything. So you don't have to worry about it, about like every single one being toasted and brown. All right, I'm gonna call this done. So you can see quite a bit of color. But you can also see that some of them haven't even gotten toasted, and that is okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add water in. Okay. This may be a dangerous move for me. I'm going to add in some salt, about a 1/4 teaspoon, 0.6 grams of Diamond Crystal Kosher salt. I added a little bit more, but I felt like it. You do you. We're going to give it just a quick mix to get that salt kind of like dissolved and in. And then we're going to, I'm going to move this to my back burner and get it boiling, and then put the lid on and turn it down. Okay, turn this off. How are we feeling? Everybody feel good? We're in a good place? How you feeling, Shauna? Could I cheat and use Sparkle? I see you. I have a Patreon member in here trying to make fun of me. I talk about toasted milk powder a lot, Could you cheat and use toasted milk powder in the recipe rather than toasting the couscous in butter? Yes. Yes, you can. You could toss like a half a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon. So maybe like 5 to 6 grams of toasted milk powder into this guy and let it cook with it. Okay, this is boiling. I'm going to turn this down. There we go. And then I'm going to let that cook for 10 to 12 minutes. And it's going to be covered. You're covering it. So you're going to get it to boil, you're going to cover it, and then you're going to let it cook. Just like you would pasta. For the same amount of time you would cook pasta, right? Because it's not rice. Yeah, the flavor might be a little different just because you're toasting the butter that you're putting in, right? Because that's getting toasted as you're toasting the pasta, but you're not toasting the pasta. So you're still gonna get a little bit of that nutty brown flavor. It will also add a bit of creaminess, more creaminess than you would have with just the butter. But at the same time, you're not, like I said, you're not toasting that pasta. So you get like some of the flavor, but not all of the flavor. But you can do that. That would be a nice hack. The smell has reached me in the stream room. My husband is like across the house, and he's like, oh my God. Pasta's toasting up smells incredible. Cool. Good. Not making fun, just trying to think of more ways to use toasted milk powder. So you have an excuse to make a bunch. You should use it in a brown butter sauce for like ravioli or something like that. Even if you went to the store and like bought ravioli from the store, you could make a quick pan sauce with butter and some toasted milk powder and some like sage, and it would be really nice. Okay, moving on. Move our water. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I am going to make the green goddess dressing. So we're gonna, I think I have in the instructions for equipment, like in the recipe online, I think I have food processor. Blender also works. Today I'm gonna use a blender. It feels easier today. I don't feel like food processor today. But either will work. The only difference is that it's going to be a little more rustic in a food processor. The blender is going to like really, really get in there and like blend those herbs into oblivion. So it just depends on like how rustic you want your dressing to be. I agree that oven bacon is the best bacon. He's also smelling that, to be honest. My veggies are about done. Honestly, they probably are done. They're probably fork tender right now. I want to see a little bit of brown on them, so I'm just going to give it a little bit longer. Okay. So let's start pulling out stuff for the dressing. I should have set a timer. It's 1:39. I'll say it's been in there for 2 minutes. So at 1:49, that's when I will check on my pasta. Getting mayo and sour cream. I'm also gonna get garlic. I am actually allergic to fresh garlic. It's not like a full-blown anaphylaxis kind of allergy, but it's not pleasant. So I actually use roasted garlic. So I'm using roasted garlic today. I will roast up a bunch of bulbs and then like squeeze it all into like a bowl, and I'll put them into, I'll put the mash, the puree, the paste of the roasted garlic into these guys, and I'll make little teaspoons and then freeze them. So I've got like little pucks like this, and it's basically like 1 to 2 cloves of garlic. And so that's what I do. You can follow along with me on this journey or just use a fresh clove of garlic. Honestly, like the fresh clove of garlic will be better in the dressing. Like I will say that. So if you are a garlic lover, stick with your fresh garlic. If you want more than just 1 clove, you go for it. You measure garlic with your heart. This is a Vitamix blender. It is a very old Vitamix blender, but she's my love. She's taken me through a lot. I always wonder how long it's going to take for people to notice. This is a magnet on the microwave. That's my husband. That's my husband. Okay, I'm going to use a kitchen scale to measure this out because I really don't feel like using all of my. I have them out. I don't know why I have them out. I don't feel like using these today. So I'm going to put my vessel, I guess, the blender here, or if you're using a food processor, you can put that on, throw it on your kitchen scale, and then I'm just literally going to squeeze the ingredients in. Oh, that's fun. I only have it in volume. Damn. That's what happens. I started recently putting volume and weight into liquid-ish ingredients on the website, and I did not do it for this one because it is so old. So it looks like I will, in fact, be using this and a spatula, which makes me a little sad. That's okay. It's okay. We all make mistakes. Honestly, I'm going to weigh it right now so that I can write it down and add it. So then you don't have to do this when you go to do this the next time. Okay, so it says I need a half a cup, 120 milliliters of mayo. So let's figure out exactly how much that weighs. Oh, here, so the people who are watching this, nice, will be able to know how much it is, and then you can just add it directly into your blender or food processor. All right. So we are looking at about, this is going to make about a cup or 240 milliliters by volume of dressing, which is more than you need for the recipe, which is why I opted to make more bacon. Okay, so you're looking at about 115 to 120 grams of mayo. Let's call it 120 because I still have some around here. Let me write that down. So it's the same. Look at that. Mayo is apparently the same milliliters to grams. And then a third cup of sour cream. 144. Chat, tell me when it hits 149. Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Daylight Time? Are we in daylight or standard? Daylight. Because there's daylight. It's the summer. I disagree. I think you can have too much bacon. Is that a hot take? You can never have too much bacon when bacon is by itself, but you can absolutely have too much bacon in a dish and it be fully overpowering, and then you're sad. A bold comment. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out. Okay, so we're working on a third of a cup or 80 milliliters by volume of sour cream. We are about to see how much that weighs. Let me zero that out. Here we go. Oh my God, this is about 82. That's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, recipe development. Okay. 80. Okay. 80 grams of sour cream. Okay. Use this a little later. That bacon is starting to smell really good. I'm gonna check on my vegetables real quick, and then we'll come back to this. Ooh, she's steamy. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okie dokie, I'm gonna set these aside. Those are done, we're gonna let those cool. I make measuring fun. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Let's do some pepper and salt. Need about 1/2 teaspoon for each, which is a little bit more than 1 gram for each. Repost yours above. Okay, yeah. Typical advice to toast granular pasta grains, no, like pasta shapes, not like pasta shapes like penne, right? Yeah, the smaller pastas you can toast, but for the larger ones, it doesn't quite make sense to do that. The surface area is just too large. Getting like toastedness around the whole thing would be like a lot. And it wouldn't work the way that we need it. We would need it to work. Thanks, John Duck. I like the hair too. Okay, this is more than I need, but that's okay. Let's get this back on. I'm going for about 1.3 grams of pepper. There we go. 149. Hey, we did it. All right, let me check on the pasta. Okay. Get a couple of granules here. Is more likely than not it is done. Oh, that's hot. Yep. All right, we're done. I'm gonna strain this out. Oh my God, that's so good. Okay. Got a strainer in my sink. So what you're gonna do for your pasta now that it's done, we're kind of jumping ship here and changing tack, and then we'll come back. There may or may not be, more likely than not, depends on the type of pasta and how processed or not processed your stuff is. But it should, let's see, he doesn't have the camera up anymore. Hey, honey, where'd the camera go? Thank you. It should look like there's little water in there. There is still some. You can see that there is some. It may cook out all the way, but it doesn't truly matter. You've cooked all the flavor in. It's mostly gone. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to now just strain this in a strainer, or I have a kind of like fine mesh colander kind of thing that they won't fit through. So I've got like one of these. So these aren't gonna like go through that, and I can just strain this out. And I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil on these to keep them from sticking as they cool. And then what it also does is it just helps, like not only does it keep them from sticking, it helps kind of retain some of that moisture so they don't dry out while they're kind of chilling. So let's move this to the side and then get my olive oil, and you're gonna add 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil, just enough to coat. We're not soaking them, but just enough. The house smells really good right now, by the way. Is that orzo? No, this is called pearl couscous. It is not couscous. I don't know. We're calling it pearl couscous because it kind of looks like it, but it's not. This is pasta. Couscous is just crushed durum wheat grains. This is actually pasta with like other ingredients in it to make a pasta. It's just the size, the shape and the size is what gives it that name, that pearl name. Okay, so we're gonna just pour a little bit of olive oil over the top, and you're gonna mix as you pour. I'm not doing this on camera because this is in my sink and I feel like I would make a ginormous mess if I tried to do this anywhere else. But just a little bit, and then you're gonna just mix as you pour. That way it doesn't go straight through and like then down your drain. Okay, and then you can walk away from that. You're gonna smell the olive oil. It's gonna kind of heat up, and it's gonna smell really good, actually. So there you go. And then let's see, we got our pepper in. Now we need our salt. You add pearl couscous to your chicken chowder. That sounds really good. That sounds really good. You need about 1/2 teaspoon. I said this earlier, I'll say it again just to make sure, in case somebody didn't hear it. I use Diamond Crystal Kosher salt in my kitchen. It is less salty than the other salts, including Morton. So use the metric measurement and weigh your salt. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with like, I think it's like something like almost 50% saltier, 50% more salt in your dish if you use my volume measurements and then you're just like using Morton instead. It will be salty. So weigh your salt, please, or salt to taste, and don't go off of my recipe. Okay, so we've got salt and pepper. Now I'm going to do some lemon and some anchovy. I've already got my garlic in there, and then we're gonna move on to our herbs. There are quite a bit of herbs in green goddess dressing. That's why it's green, because of the herbs that are in it. Just gonna move stuff aside a little bit. Don't know where this is, like here, so let me try to stay in view for you guys here. Better than nothing. There you go. Okay. Let me get my herbies. Basil and dill, lots of basil and dill. And then I also grabbed some cilantro and some parsley. I think this recipe doesn't actually have parsley in it, but I'm adding it today because I feel like I want a little extra green. And then we need our lemon. And anchovy. If you are like totally not cool with anchovies, that's okay. It's really to add a little bit of tang in. If you don't have anchovies, you can also use some Worcestershire. That does have anchovy in it. So if you thought you were getting away from anchovy by using Worcestershire, you are actually not. There is anchovy in that, or you can use like some fish sauce or something like that. Okay, those are almost ready to mess with. So something that I do in my house, you do not need to do this. With bacon, my husband has a sensitive tum-tum. So grease is not something that we handle very well. We don't use a lot of it. And so what I end up doing, I'm going to take the bacon out in a second, and I'm actually going to pat it down with some dry paper towels and then put it back in the oven to finish, just to get some of that grease off of it. So you're about to see me do that. Sorry. You don't need to do it if you don't want to. Whew. I'm off to the side. I apologize. I will try to be quick. I'm right here. Hi. Let me see if I'll lean over or something like that so you don't completely lose me. Although now I'm super overexposed because I'm underneath the light bulb. That's okay. Yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of blot it. If you're like, hey, I also don't want super greasy bacon, you can do this along with me. It is up to you. You do not need to do this. This is me being extra. It's not in the instructions. It's just something that we do. It also does require you to pick up and flip over the bacon. So if you really don't want to touch hot bacon, also don't need to do this. Remember how I said I have no feeling in the top of my finger on my right hand? Yeah, this is very helpful for that. I cannot wait to get back to chat and see what you guys are saying right now. So like this might be where somebody likes their bacon. We're still a little soft for my liking. I like crunchy bacon. I like it to be able to, like you hold it out and it's just like a straight line. Oh, come on. Last piece doesn't want to come up. Please. There we go. Okay. Yum. I'm also going to move. Let's move some of the ones that are a little undercooked to the outside. There we go. Okay. Okay, back in she goes. I am going to turn this down just a little bit. Okay, back to what we were doing. So I'm actually going to add a little bit of zest in and not just juice today. Not a lot, just a couple of runs with this microplane. If you don't have a microplane, that's it, that's all I'm adding. If you don't have a microplane, you can also use just the really small side on a grater, on a box grater. So this guy, and we are using him for the Parmesan. So if you want to, you can use this side for any zest if you feel like adding zest, and then this side for the Parmesan once you get there. I didn't roll it. Yeah, I know. Also, you know what else I didn't do that I honestly do like to do? Typically, I'll do this, or I'll cut off the top which you cannot see. Let me move here. I'll cut off the top, and then I'll just like cut down the side so that I don't have any seeds. And then you can just squeeze it, and you don't have seeds in it because all the seeds are around the middle. Okay, back to what I need. So you're going to need, you say all of the things out loud. I'm so used to just like whatever. It's about half a tablespoon, 7.5 grams of fresh squeezed lemon juice. That's probably actually closer to 8 grams, to be honest. It's 7.5 milliliters, but lemon juice weighs more than water does. Okay. There we go. So these were really big lemons. It's probably about a half of a lemon. You with me, Shauna? We good still? Okay, I'm going to pull out an anchovy from this. We're going to add an anchovy. Typically, when I'm using anchovies, I will tell you to mush this into a paste. Oh gosh, it's not going to come out because it was in the refrigerator and it hasn't. We haven't defrosted yet. I would typically tell you to, yeah, it's not going to work. Come on. Tell you to turn this into a paste. Honestly, that's about an anchovy. But because it's going into a blender or a food processor, you don't have to worry about that. I guess I can demonstrate though. So if you're ever using anchovy and you're not using like a blender or something like that, but you want to be able to, this is fine, put it into like a soup or a stew or something like that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just smash it with the back of your fork. And you're just kind of going kind of back and forth until it makes like a paste. And then once you have your paste will then go in. And then you don't have like chunks of anchovy or like one big one or something like that that doesn't cook down in your soup or your stew. Okay. While I'm over here, I'm just going to give my pasta another quick toss to make sure it's not sticking to itself too bad. Okay. And now herbs. Okay, so I need about a cup of basil, of chopped basil. That is, let's see, I wrote it down. About 30 grams. Again, today I'm just eyeballing this. You're welcome to measure. You can use, essentially what you're gonna wanna do, though, you do wanna chop it. Okay, so I may not be like fully measuring, but you absolutely do wanna chop it. And the reason for chopping or ripping or tearing or whatever you're doing with your herbs is you want them to be small enough that they don't get stuck in the blades. If they get stuck in the blades, it'll stop it from working. They won't cut properly. You're gonna end up getting like bruised herbs, and they can kind of start to taste bitter, and we don't want to do that. So basically, you want this to kind of fit. You're gonna chop it about that, and you're gonna like want it to fit kind of in like a cup. And that's basically where you want to be with the basil. We Gucci, nice. Okay, we're gonna do one more small bunch. And then we should be good on basil. I think my bacon is about done too. Okay, so this is all gonna go in. Just like that. If you're worried about anything kind of getting caught and not blending well, you can like blend an herb at a time and just keep blending it in so that you're not putting like a whole ton of herbs into it and then hoping that it kind of goes through. Okay, so dill. Okay. We only need about a 1/4 cup of fresh dill, which is like not a ton. It's like 3 to 5 grams of dill. Not a lot. We're not doing a lot here. And you want to use just the fronds. You're not using the stem. If you're using a food processor, when you get to the cilantro, you're gonna want to use just the tops of the cilantro. Because if you use the stems, then you're gonna have like actual pieces of stem in your green goddess dressing because it's not gonna blend down the way it would in a blender. You can eat parsley and cilantro stems. They actually have a more concentrated flavor than the leaves do. But it's just not gonna go well if you're using it as like a dressing or something that you don't want to be like a marinade. Like they're great in marinades, they're great for all that kind of stuff. But if you don't want the texture of a stem, and you're using that food processor, I would tell you just to use the tops. I'll probably use a little bit of both today, but it is because I'm using this blender here. Okay, so let's do just a little bit more. There we go. And then I'm gonna give this a little chop. Just a rough chop. It doesn't have to, you're not actually trying to like get it down into little fine pieces. It's going to, your blender or your processor are going to take care of that. And then we'll do some cilantro. Okay. I'm just going to take a little bit out. If you're looking for a way to keep your herbs fresher longer, once you're done with them, you have like leftovers, which we will today. You can wrap your leafy, this guy actually, because he's got stalks, you could put him in water. But basil, I'll wrap it in like a little bit of paper towel and then stick it back in like whatever clamshell that it got. That you got it in, or just wrap it in paper towel and put it into like a baggie of some kind, just to kind of keep the keep the air surrounding it kind of cool, but not letting any like true moisture get to it, because moisture is what's going to cause mold and cause it to kind of start sticking to itself and turning brown. When it comes to your parsley and your cilantro, what I like to do is get there's some thyme in this bucket, in this bundle here. What you're going to want to do is get a cup of water, and you're just going to put that right down in the water and then just stick it in your refrigerator, and it'll last for weeks. Sometimes you just have to replace the water. All right, so here's some cilantro going in, and then I said I was going to use some parsley today, and I am. It's not in the recipe, just felt like it. Saw it at the store and said, ooh, that looks like really good parsley. Let's add some parsley in. Okay. So you can see why this is green goddess, right? What are you doing? Okay. My husband is moving all of the screens around, and I couldn't see myself for a second. Okay. Oh, one more thing that I totally did not prep. I need to go get some green onions, and they are outside in my garden. I will be right back. You can get them? Okay, my husband's gonna go cut. Just honestly, just cut like 2 stalks. And then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna cut, if it starts to feel like cellulose, like it starts to feel too like thick, kind of like styrofoam, you're cutting above that because I want the herb part. I don't want the stalk part of it.
Right.
Okay.
It's not the white part.
Well, the white part's in the ground. We're just cutting the tops off. We're cutting the tops off. Oh shoot, my bacon's done. Hey guys, I forgot bacon existed. Oh, she looks nice. Bacon is done. I'm gonna turn this off because my kitchen is hot right now. Okay. The bacon is done. And I'm gonna do the same thing that I did before. You, again, do not have to do this. I'm patting her down with some paper towel before she gets too crispy. Once your bacon starts to cool, it'll crisp up even more. That's perfect, thank you. It'll crisp up even more, and then it will break if you are deciding to do this and try to get some of this grease off. We don't want that to happen.
No longer cook along if I help.
Yeah, well, hopefully they already had these, and I'm the only one that forgot. Ooh, she hot. Bacon is crispy, friends.
Oh, I'm hungry.
Well, there's not much longer, so you'll be able to eat it really soon. We've only got about less than 10 minutes on this. Okay. I think I got all the pieces. I probably forgot some. I was not going in order. Okay. Bacon is out and cooling. I'm going to give these a quick rinse. They look good. So I guess if you grow green onions, scallions, whatever you want to call them, in your garden, if you're going to use these for recipes, the tops, stir fries, whatnot, you really want it to have kind of like a soft, velvety texture when you're using it. As it gets closer, the older that they get, the bigger that the stalks get, and the closer that they get to the bottom, to the bulb in the ground, the thicker they're going to get. And you'll get, I don't know if you can see on camera, this white cellulose that's in here. This does not break down very well. So if you're using, especially like in a stir fry or something, it'll probably break down in a blender because we're blending the crap out of it. But in like a stir fry or something, this isn't gonna blend down and it's gonna stay crunchy and weird. And you don't want that. So you want it, do this. You want it to be green on the inside. I'll do another one further up so you can see. Okay, so you see how it's just like a little shiny, but you don't have like that full, like waxy, thick white cellulose. We don't want that. If you're buying it from a farm, if you're doing like wherever you're getting it from, just know if you don't have access to or don't know where to find green onions, you don't see them in your store, you can also use chives. That is also fine. Chives are fine. It's the same flavor, give or take. Okay, I'll move my herbs out of the way. We are done with them. We're gonna blend and then we're gonna finalize our prep with our tomatoes and our Parmesan. And then we're gonna put everything together because every element is made. Okay, let's get this blended. Again, this is gonna be It's probably gonna be a little loud for a hot minute. I don't know where the lid went. There it is. Okay. Yeah, can you turn it down? I'm gonna have my husband turn the volume down on my mic for just a second so that it's not so loud for you guys. All right, and go. Dang it, and I did it. Please, where's the... Okay, maybe, I guess it's just turned down, right? All right, you can turn it back up. Thank you. My mom used to make German potato salad a lot, Jazz. I grew up with German potato salad. It's so good. I love the like the vinegar, like the little hit of acid in there is so nice. They knew what they were doing. I'm also a really big fan of sauerkraut and stuff like that too, though. Okay, so we've got our green goddess dressing, obviously green. Tastes delightful. There is nothing to change there. That's very good. Okay, and then now we're gonna just do the last bit of prep. I'm going to clean my station here a little bit. This is getting a little overwhelming for me. Okay. Okay, so I've got some tomatoes here. I've got some grape tomatoes. I don't know. The colorful ones just feel summery. I used to grow tomatoes. Honestly, if you can find tomatoes at like a local farmer's market or something that's like close to you, they're gonna taste so much better than anything that you can buy in a store. Tomatoes are one of the fruits or produce that I always say, like, don't buy it at the store, buy it like from a farmer or grow it. They taste so much better when they're fully fresh. Part of what happens if you're buying it from a grocery store is they have to pick it before it's fully ripe, and then it ripens the rest of the way while it's traveling. And so the closer it is to where you are, so if you can get it in the same state from a local farmer's market, something like that, the less time that it has to travel and the riper it is when they pick it. If it's in your garden, that's even better because you can pick it like an hour before you're gonna eat it. But it's like always sweeter, always more flavorful. And summer is when tomatoes are in season. So that's when even like the store ones will taste better in the summer than they are if you're buying them kind of year round. You have a garden too? See, I used to have a garden. Now I kind of just have like an herb garden. I have whatever is going to grow with me doing like absolutely no effort. Like I don't even water out in my garden. It's an in-ground garden, and I just kind of like let the elements do what they will. I've had so many pests come in. Every year it's a different pest. It's really hard to keep stuff away from my produce, and I just kind of gave up on it, and now it's just herbs. I actually had a mole come in last year and dig my garden up 3 times. I don't know how I got any produce out of it. And so I've just kind of given up. But I honestly, the only thing that I miss is tomatoes. And I also don't like having to go to the store to buy herbs. Like that makes me a little mad sometimes. You can do quarters, you can do halves. It's all going to depend on like how big your tomatoes are and how much you want to have like how big of a piece of a tomato you want to have in a spoonful. It's up to you. I'm going to quarter these today. They're kind of large. But for like smaller ones, like I've got some smaller ones here that were local. or at least more local than the colorful ones. Let's see. So like these I would have. They're like little guys. You used to have a garden and it was seriously a blast, such a money saver for me. Yeah, I get like obsessive. I really, really liked having a garden, but the time that I was spending on pests was not worth it. And they were killing so much of my produce that I couldn't, like it was not money saving for me, unfortunately. But I do love gardening and stuff like that. It's so fun. Garden Tower 2. I've never heard of that. Check it out on Amazon. Is that like one of those like hydroponic like growing stations that they like go up and you like water down kind of a thing? Yeah, that's another thing. It gets so hot here. So like when instructions tell you for produce here in Florida, when instructions say on a plant like full sun, in Florida that is not full sun. And like full sun is 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. If I have like tomatoes or peppers or something like that out in the middle of the summer and they're not partially shaded, they will cook on the vine. I've had tomatoes and peppers cook on the vine because it gets so hot here. And that also is sad when I like go out there and they're kind of just like wilted and mushy and like partially like oh God, yeah, it's the best. All right, this is about what I want. You're going for, this is more than I need. This is what I want though. You're going for about a cup worth of tomatoes. It's about 80 grams. This is more than that. This is probably closer to about 110 grams, but I'm fine with that decision. Okay. I'm gonna add one more. They're just so pretty and colorful. I just want more. So there we go. That's what we're gonna land. Let's do some Parmesan and then let's start putting this whole thing together. Cheers. Okay. Shauna, are you ready? Are you ready to enjoy this? This is gonna be good. All right. I very much need this to open. There we go. Okay, so if you really want to, you can use a microplane and kind of just like have really delicate pieces of Parmesan that will kind of meld into your pasta salad. I prefer to have kind of chunks of it so you get little bursts of that sharp cheese. It's really up to you. Okay. And again, you can do as much or as little of this as you want. Like this is all about making it work for your tastes. I'm using about 1/4 cup. You want to go up to more to 1/2 cup? Have fun with that. Nothing wrong with that. I'm so ready. You've been snacking on everything. I really want to snack on that bacon, if I'm being honest. Okay, that is plenty. So I guess I said 1/4 cup of the Parmesan, and that is, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Hold on. Woo! Excuse me. That is about 25 grams or so of grated Parmesan. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, and last but not least, we've got our arugula. Okay, so now I'm going to just clear the space. I'm going to clear this up, and I'm going to just have space for all of our ingredients, and we're gonna just start mixing everything together. Putting a plate underneath my colander here. It is time. Okay. Everything in here. Okay, it's time. Pasta goes in. Okay, so I've just got a big, wide mixing bowl, salad bowl, something that you can easily just like kind of scoop and mix everything together without it all falling all over the place. You want a bigger bowl than you think, because this is just like anytime you make like a dish that involves like rice, you're doing like a rice bowl of some kind, and you're like, God, that looks like such a small amount of rice, but then you start adding in like all your veg and your protein and like everything else, and by the time you're done, you're like, this is too much food for me. This meal is very much like that, where everything looks relatively small, but then once you start putting everything together, it becomes like this really big thing. Okay, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna get our roasted veg in. These are turnips and radishes. We're not here for the very beginning, I like to use turnips and radishes. I like their earthy flavor. I think it adds a lot to this dish. But you could also go fall and maybe do some sweet potato or some butternut squash. We were talking about adding roasted red pepper. That could also be really nice. Or even just fresh red pepper if you wanted to like skip the turnips and just do radish. Okay, toss our Parmesan in and our tomatoes. Yeah, this is gonna last this might not last a couple of days. I have a family who's gonna eat this. But I would like it to last, if it was just me, this would last for several days. Okay, we're gonna take 3 or 4 pieces of bacon. So here's our crispy bacon. And I'm just gonna chop that up into some pieces. Okay. And then not last but least, the penultimate ingredient here. We're gonna do some arugula, and I'm actually gonna chop this down a little bit. You don't have to. One of the like least dignified things that you can do in this world is try to eat a salad in front of people when you have pieces, especially like arugula, and they're like really large pieces, and you're like trying to eat it, and you got like stuff sticking out of your mouth, and you're like trying to not have that happen. I chopped down most of my lettuce and stuff like that because it's never as clean as you think it's gonna be when you're trying to eat a salad. You're gonna use about a cup of this, basically just like a big handful is what you're going for. And you can add more if you want to add more. So I'm just gonna kind of give it another rough chop so that we have some smaller pieces. And that's gonna go in too. Okay. Now, we have our dressing. Let's give this a little mix. Oh. We do have our dressing as well. You're gonna wanna use about 1/3 of what's in there to coat this. Something that is very important, especially for Shauna, who is currently cooking this. The pasta will soak this dressing up in about 20 to 30 minutes. So add the dressing as you're going to eat it. Or do the whole dressing, but if you're gonna eat like leftovers later, you're gonna wanna add you're gonna wanna either heat it up or eat it cold, and you're gonna wanna add just a little bit more dressing just to kind of like reignite those flavors. Because like I said, the pasta is going to soak it up. If you are taking this to a potluck or somebody's house for a barbecue or something like that, you are going to have all of these together hanging out in a dish, and you're gonna have your dressing on the side, and then you're gonna add it right before everybody is going to eat, because that is the best way to taste this. Okay, let's do it. You would definitely be dumping in all of the bacon. You can if you want to. It's just really gonna taste like bacon then. All right, let's get some dressing in. Okay. I will be using this for BLTs later. Oh my God, I'm very excited about that. Okay. Oh my God, my mouth is watering. I'm so excited. I haven't had this in such a long time. And there you go. I'm eating it. Let me get a fork. Let's try to have pride and dignity while eating this. I'm really not sure, to be honest. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you want a little bit, just more punch, you can add extra salt on top. You can squeeze a little bit more lemon juice on top. That's so good. My daughter will eat this. My son will not. My son is terrified of the color green. The pasta is pearl couscous. If you cannot find pearl couscous, you can also use orzo. You're going to want to use a pasta that is, grab some of this, that is no smaller than these. Okay, so it's about the size of like a black peppercorn, like a whole peppercorn. You're going to want to use about that. Don't go smaller, or you're not going to have, like, the pasta is not going to be a textural component. It's going to kind of like be a little imbalanced texturally. And you could go up to orzo, but I probably wouldn't go bigger than that. As in 30 seconds. Oh no. Okay, well, I guess I don't want to do an outro yet. So I guess, does anybody have any further questions? This can get, the dressing can go into the refrigerator, and it'll last like a week or two before you need to get rid of it. Honestly, it doesn't last that long. We will use this on all sorts of stuff. So I have no problem with that. And then the pasta salad can go into the fridge. It has bacon in it. It has cheese in it. It has mayo in it. 3 days. Like, don't, you can push it to 4 if you're feeling extra special and you're feeling lucky, but like 3 days, 2 to 3 days in the refrigerator and you're golden. After that, you may want to err on the side of caution, and just like food safety in general. So yeah, I would not suggest freezing any of these. The like mayo and dairy products don't tend to like freeze and then reheat very well, especially mayo. Mayo can kind of like break and get weird and greasy. So like neither of these would be freezable things. This is like refrigerator only, and then that's it. Are you stealing it? Okay. You use pearl couscous to make mac and cheese. That is an interesting concept, and I like it. Cool.
Oh, good. Why don't you make this more often?
Because it's a lot. I mean, it's really good, but it is like a lot of different components. So like, I get it. I get why it can be kind of hard sometimes.
No.
What's your review? It's good out of 5. Okay. That's it. You can slow down. That's it. That's the whole thing. We're done. I guess our ad's going right now. When do they finish?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter? Okay, I guess I can like clean up a little bit. But yeah, it's outro time. It's time for me to ramble about all of my socials and try to shamelessly plug myself on the internet. Try to. Does anybody have any final questions? The cookbooks I'll do when we finish the quote unquote like YouTube video. The live will continue. So he just needs to, basically I'm doing an outro and then we'll end the recording and then finish the live up, and that'll end later. Okay. Do I recommend Cutco knives for the price? I do. Anecdotally, I do. And you can send them in and they will sharpen them if you don't have somebody who can sharpen your knives at home or at a local like kitchen place. I've had this knife for almost 20 years now, and she's still going strong. Yeah, it's their handles are perfect for my hands. Their handles are perfect for my hands. They're great for me for prep. I guess I would probably call large hands for a woman, but small hands for a man. I don't even know. I have not small hands, but also like I don't have like really big hands. Some of the knives that are out there that are like professional chef's knives are made for larger hands than mine. So like this guy here, I don't know if you can, here. So you can see how the handle here is like bigger, kind of all the way. Like I feel like I get a better grip on this guy. This is a precision for me, like a precision blade for me. I'm not using this for lots of prep work because my hand starts to cramp if I'm using it. If I use it for more than like 20 minutes, like straight, and I'm like really going to town on some prep and chopping and stuff, it's not the play for me. So it depends. Chip Chappy, it depends on what you're doing with your knives. For the type of steel, the hardness that you might want or not want. Sometimes if you're doing something like, say you're working with sushi or things that are delicate, you might want a knife that has steel that's more flexible and like a lower carbon count. And then sometimes you want something that's like an absolute workhorse and you want it to have a higher like edge retention, so you want it to be a higher carbon number. It just depends. It depends on like how good you are at keeping up with your knives and keeping them honed and keeping them sharpened, how rough you are with them, the types of food that you're using them for. It really just depends, but it's probably smart to find something like in a middle range and use that and kind of get better at cooking in general before you start like saying, I'm using this knife specifically for that. I'm using this knife specifically for that. Aside from it being like a paring knife versus a chef knife, like they're literally designed to be bigger or smaller or for certain tasks. But like choosing two different chef knives for two different tasks is something that is like, there's a certain level of something that it like takes for somebody to like actually make decisions like that and honestly spend that much money. So yeah. Yeah, go with what you need and what your daily use requires and like stick with that until you need something more. For sure. Looks amazing, tastes incredible. Perfect pasta salad for the summer. Wow, Shauna. Oh my God, that was nice. Thank you. I'm so glad you like it. I'm glad you cooked along with me. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and end this. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who is here today on my live, or to anyone in the future who is joining and watching this video through at a later date. Really appreciate you guys being here and supporting the content that I am making and supporting the channel. You can, I don't know where anything is because I don't typically do this and I am new to YouTube. Like and subscribe on whatever it is. Comment if you like something. If you have questions, feel free to comment or place comments down in the bottom of in the YouTube comment section. Or if you want to find these recipes elsewhere and go to my website, you can. The website is alittlespoon.com. There are recipes just like this and a whole lot more there for you to explore. I also have an Instagram where you can get some behind the scenes and like things like that in my stories. I try to put some stuff out consistently, not so consistently, so you guys can kind of see what I'm up to. But I do post all of the recipes in their entirety there. The thing that you get extra on the website are notes and background information, a lot of science information about why different ingredients are reacting the way that they are with different techniques, and like lots of information about substitutions and just food science in general. I think it's really important to learn the science behind what you're doing so that you can make better decisions when you're looking for other recipes on other people's websites or in books. If you're trying out new techniques, I think that if you understand the science, it's easier to go in with a firmer understanding of what you're attempting to accomplish with a technique, and which makes it easier for you to actually do it well the first time and understand what you're reading. So I try really hard to just give lots of explanations. You'll find in the recipes that I also like to give other sensory cues in the instructions. So I might say something is supposed to smell like something, or looks like something, feel like something, taste like something when it is ready. I think that's also kind of a helpful cue to not just say, oh, it's 5 minutes, it's 10 minutes, and then if you're not quite there, you're not certain, because it might not look like what you think it's supposed to look like. I'll kind of try to give other cues there to be helpful. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram. The Instagram handle is at @a_little_spoon. So where there's supposed to be a space in between words, it's just an underscore. And I also do Instagram lives with a friend of mine who is in the food photography industry. A lot of our stuff is geared toward business, food photography or otherwise. Sometimes we do some food stuff, but we do that every 2 weeks on Thursdays, and that's a lot of fun. So you can check that out as well. And if you really, really did like the content here, feel free to have a conversation with me. You can send me an email, info@alittlespoon.com, and we can talk about anything, any questions you might have about something that may not be in a recipe, something about this recipe, whatever you want to do. And I do have a Patreon as well. And that Patreon is A Little Spoon, so it's Patreon/A Little Spoon. And I have a really fun community. We talk about food a lot. Sounding a little bit like Bubba in Forrest Gump, we talk about food science, recipes. We talk about traveling with food. We talk about home cooking food. We talk about all just food in general, all of the different channels. And then we have monthly chats where we get on and we just kind of hang out for an hour or so. And I give a lot of more behind the scenes in a private Discord that we have. That's kind of where I've kind of created this community and cultivated this community. So if you feel like supporting, you can support and not join in on any of that, totally fine. But you can also support monetarily and then come and join us in a private Discord server and on our Zoom calls monthly and kind of be a part of the action. It's fun. We're all nice. It's good. We're nice people. At least we think we are. And I welcome anybody in. So thank you again. That was a lot. I know it was a lot, but now you have all of the information. And I hope to see you at a later cooking stream. Thank you very much for joining me in the A Little Spoon kitchen. I'll see you next time. Bye. Cool. Woo! That's so much information. Hey, my live people. Bye. I'm going to talk about some cookbooks. So we were talking about cookbooks a little bit earlier. That was the outro for the video that we're just going to cut the intro and the outro, and it becomes a video and a playlist on YouTube. But this is the live. Yeah, time for the upload. So this is the live. We're still doing the live. And I am going to go grab some cookbooks real quick that I actually do use so that I can talk about them a little bit. So just give me like 45 seconds. Maybe more than 45 seconds. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Okay. I think this is good. Let's just do this. Ugh. Okay. Hi, welcome. I really want to eat this salad. Okay. So, a couple of the books that this book has been used, it is gross, a lot. So this is the Food Lab. This is what I was talking about before, J. Kenji Lopez Alt. And basically, just like I said earlier when I was doing my outro, where I said I talk a lot about like food science and why things are happening, he does that in this book. And he does it on the website Serious Eats as well. So if you are not sure if you want to go out and purchase a book that you can kind of like have and write in and do whatever you want to do with, you can find these recipes on SeriousEats.com as well. And it does come with all of the information and all of that scientific background and the experimentation in all of those articles. So I really like the buttermilk biscuits from here. His chili is incredible. So I use that. But really just like a lot of stuff like techniques for cooking vegetables, for cooking eggs, like all that kind of stuff. There's just so much. So like here that he's talking about like different flavors of garlic based on how you cut it. Because the more that you break down the cellular walls in garlic, the more fragrant it gets. So if you just smash garlic and toss it in a pan, you get one flavor. If you are slicing it into a bunch of like thin slices, you get another flavor. If you're crushing it and turning it into a paste, that's a whole nother flavor. And then that doesn't even include if you heat it and you do something like you're confitting in olive oil, or if you're like roasting them in the oven or something like that. So this is a great book. I'm not giving you, that's funny. She's going to give us homework. That is so funny. Counted the salad bowl spins. Yeah, you don't have to stay. If this is not something you're interested in, I'll see y'all later. Have I ever used a binding service like FedEx to have them take a book apart and then put it back together so it can lay flat? You mean like getting it like spiral bound? I've had like books in college. I had like teachers specifically get books spiral bound that we had to then like pay for them that way. I've never done that to a cookbook. But that's not a bad idea. That's pretty kind of cool. Yeah, Flavor Thesaurus. I would say these two books are books that have like I kind of used for just kind of ideas and fun and just throwing different flavors and different things together. The Flavor Thesaurus is exactly what it sounds like. So essentially it'll talk about an ingredient and then it'll talk about other things that you can pair with it, other ingredients that it goes well with. And then it's got like a whole it's got like an index and it'll tell you kind of like where to get to everything. But like white chocolate and almond, white chocolate and blackberry, white chocolate and cardamom, white chocolate and caviar, white chocolate and regular chocolate, white chocolate and coconut, white chocolate and coffee, like, and a ton of, and lemon, olives, pineapple. Like it goes through kind of all of those pairings, and it's just like a really, like, you can read through it or you can just like kind of browse through it. But it's just like a really good book to have for fun ideas and stuff like that. There's also, so Flavor Thesaurus, and then I think I mentioned the Flavor Bible. And the Flavor Bible actually goes into like phenols and goes into like the actual chemical composition of like the aroma and the flavor of different ingredients, and then pairs it on a chemical level, and like goes into like, it's like super, super in depth. And that is also a very good book for something like this where you're kind of looking for like pairing flavors. This is the Kitchen Express 400 like different dishes. And it is written in paragraph form. And you can just kind of, it's seasonal. And it is, and there are recipes here, but it's like a handful of this, a half a cup of that, or whatever of that. You know, very minimal on the instructions, but if you cook enough, this is just like a really great way to read a recipe. So yeah, this is a great book that I use. This is also Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. I talked about that earlier. This is a great book. The first half of this book is all about the way that using salt, fat, acid, and heat can help you balance flavor and create flavor within a dish. And then it does have some recipes that use some of what it's talked about. This is a fantastic book. And if you are interested in furthering and like getting a little bit of a summarization of this book without reading, you can go on Netflix, and I think it's Netflix, they have a TV show with Samin who called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. And I think it's like each episode is one of the 4, and she kind of like goes in and like travels and talks to people about those things. And so it's like a really good like way to experience the first half of this book without actually getting any of the recipes. So depends. I would love to buy some of Victoria's other, or I think they call her Tori, I want to say, but it says Victoria on the book, and I don't know her personally. So I would love to buy some of her other books. This book is a great cookbook.
The Destiny Cookbook.
Yes, this is Destiny Cookbook. I use this quite a bit, actually, for ideas and she's got really good spice blends in here. The instructions are great. She did a fantastic job of cutting down on complex things to making them easier, and cutting off like bunches of it's all ingredients, but then maintaining flavor. A lot of the times when you get a cookbook, or you're looking for recipes online, somebody will want to have like 15 ingredients, 10 ingredients, 5 ingredients, or less, right? Like it's always about kind of doing more with less, but a lot of the times too, it compromises the amount of flavor that you get. And I did not find that to be the case with this book. The ingredients that need to be there are there. Nothing is cut out, and the recipes are fantastic. So this is a very good book. I'm sure there are other ones that she did for other video game communities. I've not looked at those, but I'm sure they're just as good.
This is so good.
And then I think the last one, this one I just bought and I'm in the middle of, but I'm super excited about. It's called Slow Drinks. And this is like the crazy book. This is me wanting to learn how to pickle, ferment, infuse, forage, like all that kind of stuff. And use like all sorts of herbs and all sorts of things that are just like around me in cocktails. So I'm super, super excited about this one. I want to learn how to make my own syrups and fermentations and things like that. And that's why I bought this book. Yes. Okay, this is not all of them, but these are the ones that I think that I'm most invested in currently. So. Okay, good. Whoever was here that asked for that, I really hope that you're still here and I didn't just, I mean, I guess you could come back to the video later. That was a lot. That should be a video?
Carrie's cookbook recommendation.
Yeah.
My favorite cookbooks.
He's eaten like a third of that bowl already.
Hey, food is made to be eaten.
He eats like he's been in the army. You know what's even funnier is he's an only child. There's no reason for him to eat that fast.
Eating's boring. I'm gonna go back.
Good, you're here. Okay, you're welcome. I'm very glad that you're still here. And then you got to get in the middle of all of that. If you ever have any questions, or you're looking at a book and you're like unsure about it or whatever, or you need a recommendation, like you can just send me a message on Instagram. I usually see those. Or I think I said earlier, info@alittlespoon.com, and you can just like send me an email and I'm happy to answer questions and all that. Ooh, the Euro final. Uh-oh, looks like we're gonna have to turn some TV on.
Wolfen.
Okay. I guess that's the end of it. It was really nice hanging out with you guys. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for peppering me with questions and keeping this interesting. The Food Lab, you have that cookbook. It's a good cookbook. It's a good cookbook for sure.
So what are we doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow, oh yeah. Tomorrow we have a charity stream. Tomorrow we are raising money through the GCX event for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. It is an annual event that we have been partaking in for 6 years now, and we love it. We are ready to make fools of ourselves on the internet for your donations, and so that we can one day cure childhood cancer, because F cancer. And it's Dune themed. So if you've seen Dune 1 or 2, honestly, the 1980s versions or the most recent versions, you're gonna have a good time, and it's gonna be pretty funny.
This is not gonna
but we've got all sorts of incentives, both just like as we collectively raise money, and then individual donations that you can give to mess with him in game, and yeah, we're gonna have a good time. The blue hair is specifically for Dune, right? I drank the water of life. Instead of getting blue eyes, I grew blue hair.
She's a Reverend Mother.
It's so blue. It looks so good.
All right.
Yeah.
We got work to do?
Yeah.
Chat, right now I'm pointing at a 12-foot long sandworm.
Yeah.
And now I'm pointing at the sandworm's face that Carrie's been making for it.
Yep.
Lots of fun things.
Yep. Bye, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to clean and eat, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this. You can't wait. Yeah. Come ready. Come ready to enjoy yourself. And I will say this too. We say this a lot before we end, but we say this a lot during the charity stream, and it is 100% true. You just being there and supporting us is like, you don't need, like, if you don't have the money to donate, I know that things are tight right now. I know that it can be difficult. If you don't have money to donate, just being there and supporting the cause and like bringing awareness to it is more than we could hope for. If you tell your friends about it, if you share it in your socials, if you talk about it with your family or something like that, like just like spreading awareness and honestly just being present, and being in chat and like keeping up the energy and all that kind of stuff, like is so helpful during a charity block. Donations are great, obviously, because this is for a cause and for a good charity. But just being present and being with us is like equally as amazing. So I just want to say like a thank you to everybody who's going to hang with us tomorrow. And it's tomorrow morning from 8 to noon Eastern. So hopefully you are in a time zone that allows you to join and not be hella tired. We will see you guys tomorrow. And there is a cook there. Oh, is that something I'm not supposed to talk about? I can say it. Typically, we do have a universal incentive. So collectively, as we raise money, we hit milestones. And a milestone that we are hoping, we typically hit it, but we're hoping we'll hit it, is another cooking stream. So I may have another cooking stream tomorrow after we finish our time block. It's up to you guys. We'll see what happens. Cat's out of the bag. I started saying it and I was like, oh no, am I supposed to do this? Dune themed cooking stream. And it's going to be so casual, friends. It's going to be like hella casual cooking stream tomorrow. We're winging it mostly. Yep. Okay. Bye. Thank you. Thank you for coming and hanging out. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Okay. Yeah, do that.